All right, let's get into this. So, our last review of the day is going to be a retro review. We're going to do a retro review for the movie Die Hard. Die Hard, there, which came out all the way in 1988. This was the movie that started it all. This was the movie that birthed the franchise of Die Hard. There would be eventually how many sequels? It was 4 sequels because you had Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and
And
then
then a good day to die hard pretty recently.
A Good Day to Die Hard. Out of all those sequels, it's probably only one good sequel to me. Die Hard with a Vengeance. I think Die Hard with a Vengeance is a lot of fun. I think I like the team up between Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis there.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of praise with this movie. This movie is considered one of the greatest action movies of all time. This also movie is, I guess some people debate, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? I mean, it takes place, hey, on Christmas time. You got that kind of going on for it. So yeah, I would say it is a Christmas movie there. I mean, you would agree with that?
I would agree with that too. It's not a traditional Christmas movie, but in a lot of ways, the themes of reuniting with family and like trying to be a better version of yourself in the next year, those are all very Christmas coded themes. So I think in a very roundabout and odd sort of way, it is a Christmas movie. It's a great Christmas movie at that.
Yeah. This iconic film there, starring Bruce Willis there as John McCain. John McCain there, one of his legendary roles there. Probably one of his roles that he's most known for there, playing John McClane. I think, yeah. And no, there's a lot of situations going on with Bruce Willis right now, due to his illness there. So it's good to always look back at his career and his contributions to film and what he did there with that. Then also you have Alan Rickman in this, who also does a great job as the legendary Hans Gruber in this, one of Alan Rickman's legendary roles, along with him playing, of course, Professor Snape in the Harry Potter movies there. This is also up there with people. Yeah. Neal, what are your thoughts? Die Hard.
So Die Hard was directed by John McTiernan, like you said, in 1988, and this movie this movie is rightfully remembered as one of the all-time great action movies. It's one of the best action movies ever made. It set a trend. It set several trends that the genre continues to play with to this day, mainly in the everyman action hero kind of thing. And it just has amazing characters and great action scenes. So yeah, it's rightfully remembered as one of the all-time great action films for sure.
Iconic things from this movie there, the quotes that people say from this movie there. Yippee ki was a big thing, like people saying that everywhere. Remember, that was also a big thing people talk about when this movie came out there. Incredibly successful. Also, this movie was there. Apparently had a budget of there 25 to 35 million, ended up making somewhere between 139 and 141 million there as well there. This movie is entered into the Library of Congress there, the National Film Registry there, for being historically and culturally significant there. This film entered there in 2017. There's so much deserved for that film as well there. Very awesome there. And what was kind of big about this movie at the time was you had just a normal looking guy in Bruce Willis as John McClane there. A guy that didn't look like the big muscly action heroes we had at the 80s there. You had the Arnold Schwarzeneggers there. You had the Sylvester Stallones there. That was kind of the look a lot in those kind of 80s movies there, like Predator and things like that. So it was a little bit of a different, he was just kind of he took his shirt off. I mean, yeah, he was in shape there, but he, just was kind of a regular shaped guy. He wasn't like all built and muscly like Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Chuck Norris, which I think added to the appeal of his everyman type character there. And then it kind of went a little crazy when he started, doing a lot of crazy shit in the other movies there, but you did have that kind of great appeal in this first one. Is that what kind of something you loved about the first Die Hard movie?
That really is. I think Bruce Willis plays John McClane as just a great everyday character who has real human problems. The basic setup of this movie is that he's flying to New York to reconcile with his wife, who he's been separated with for a bit. But yeah,
You mean California, right?
California. Sorry, he's flying to California to reconcile with his wife. But yeah, I really just love sort of the everyday man that Bruce Willis plays in this role, because he is, when everything goes down in the Nakatomi Plaza, the really defining thing about the action of this movie is that John is constantly outgunned and outmanned at every situation, and he just has to rely on his wits and ingenuity to get through every scenario. And it just shows how strong of a character John McClane is. It shows how great of an actor Bruce Willis is, and it just shows how tense and exciting the action is. Just because this is not, the Terminator coming to wreck havoc. This is just a guy in a really terrible situation trying to make the most of it, and it works extremely well.
Mm. Yeah. And you see that, when kind of things kind of come to a head there with him dealing with this kind of force of Hans Gruber and kind of his group of villains. Like you said, he is outmanned and outgunned with these guys. And you see like also another thing, like every member of his crew, of Hans Gruber's crew, is kind of very distinctive in their way of kind of what they do. You got certain big, kind of tall, muscular guys there. Like big thing in the 80s, Euro kind of Europeans being the villains there, accents, that was a big thing there as
Right.
well. You got one guy who is kind of like his nemesis throughout the movie there, other than Hans Gruber, because he killed his brother. It's the big kind of tall blonde guy who kind of looks like Triple H a little bit, the wrestler.
Right.
So that's the thing there. That's kind of a fun little kind of back and forth that they have. The interplay that Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman have, because they're mostly communicating throughout the movie through radio. So that's kind of great. And then when you see them first meet each other on screen, that's the first time that Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman meet each other on also on set as well there, as far as in a scene together. And that added to the spontaneity of that scene, because each actor didn't know what they were going to do. So I thought that was kind of really good there, and I felt that as well.
Mhm.
A kind of another person he speaks a lot to the radio on is a Reginald Bell Johnson there. People might know him there, being in kids shows there, mainly there. Family Matters was a big thing he was in.
Right.
And he plays a cop there who gets this call to go and investigate things at Nakatomi Tower there. And he has a great kind of interplay with him. What do you think about a lot of supporting characters in the movie?
Oh, I thought they all did terrific. I like the distinction between all the henchmen because, like you said, the Triple H guy has a lot of like good lines and is a really imposing threat. But Reginald Val Johnson, as in the origin story of Carl Winslow from this film, also does a really good job of talking with Bruce Willis, because he doesn't trust Bruce Willis at the beginning, but then the more he like relays the information about what's going on, the more their camaraderie grows and the stronger that character becomes. But I also really like his wife, played by Bedeville, Bonnie Bedelia, because they
Mhm.
have a really good chemistry with each other. They feel like they're a married couple that's had a lot of like strains in their relationship, and I thought she added a really good human element to the John McClane character, because as opposed to just being like the standard wife that will just stand by her man no matter what, she has her own thoughts and independence, and adds a really interesting wrinkle to his character and the story as a whole. So all the supporting characters do a really great job with their roles. They know the assignment.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And you learn like history with his character with Reginald VelJohn, Sergeant Al Powell. Like why he's doing what he's doing there. I think that's kind of really good. And then also, as more people kind of show up, you see more asshole kind of characters show up. You also have his boss there, who shows up, part of the police department, who's Paul Gleason there, who shows up there as well. And he's the asshole guy in the Breakfast Club as well. So he's good at playing assholes there as well in movies. And then you also have like the FBI agents who come in, the SWAT people who just want to come in and just bust shit up and then kill people and kill these guys and be done with it. They have no real regard for any of the hostages in the situation there. And I thought that was kind of really great. So everybody kind of has a good personality, like the people you see on screen, even though they don't have huge parts in it, are very memorable. Even the guy that works in with John McClane's wife there. You have Ellis, who's in this, who you can tell is doing a lot of booger sugar. Big 80s guy, you know what I mean, in terms of his whole personality, everything about him. And then you see him get dispatched. But even he's on the screen just for that little bit. He even has like good moments and kind of like this good
Man,
kind of
man,
personality.
Ellis would be great friends with Patrick Bateman back in the '80s. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Both guys who just love each other to extreme degree.
Right.
I think that was really good there. So in the way he kind of ends up, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of just this average guy who gets thrown into this, incredibly dangerous situation, and he just is unprepared for this, and how he kind of deals and how he responds. Like you mentioned, his ingenuity, how he kind of gets out of situations, how he's able to kind of think on his feet there. Like the scene where the whole roof blows up, he's able to tie himself to the fire hose there, rappel off the roof there, which was done by Bruce Willis. He did that stunt there, and they had all things laid out there, which was pretty nice. I thought that was really great there. What are some of your favorite action sequences from the movie?
I really love the elevator action scene where he's like crawling in the tunnels trying to avoid the guys, and I really love just the beginning of it where he's starting to realize, oh, what's going on and how am I going to get out of this thing, where he's like hiding under the tables and like debris to get the guys, and to even get a gun is a big deal because like he starts out completely unarmed and without his shoes. So to see him like literally like you know MacGyver his way to getting a gun and like getting the equipment he needs is just really exciting to see. So that whole build up and those action scenes leading to it were my favorite ones.
Nice there. I think the roof scene is really great. Um, I think the scene where he takes on one of the henchmen there, like he's kind of trying to fight him. He's like climbing on top of him. I think it's like really amazing there. The scene where he, ends up meeting Gruber again, and he's got the gun strapped to his back there. And he's all bloodied and battered and bruised there. And his wife sees him for the first time there. And this is her first time seeing him because he's supposed to come see her in the trip and everything like that. And he runs into her again at the end there where he meet her at the party, and then again at the end, and sees all the things that's happened to him. And she's just like, Jesus Christ, I thought that was kind of really great there. I thought that was really amazing. So yeah, man, I mean, there's so many positive things you can say about this movie and about all the kind of the great things it does there. Do you think it is the greatest action movie of all time there?
Is certainly up there. I think it is rightfully remembered as one of the best action movies all time. I would personally put it in like maybe my top 5 favorite action movies of all time, and it's rightfully revered exactly as it is.
Mm, okay. And we mentioned the sequels before there. Which one do you think is the kind of the best sequel and worst sequel there with Die Hard?
Best sequel has to be number 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, because it's not the same thing again, and Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson have a good chemistry together. And they that it's really that relationship that elevates that movie above the other sequels. The worst one is easily A Good Day to Die Hard, the most recent one. My best friend and I, Juan, saw that in a movie theater the weekend it came out, and it's just a generic action movie at that point. It at no point is a Die Hard movie because he's just a superhero in that one. He's like being thrown from helicopters and like driving in like driving in traffic at high speeds. It's just, and plus the story just makes no sense. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh. Now, Die Hard 1980 was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. It did not win any, but it was nominated for Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Sound Effects Editing, and Best Visual Effects there. So it lost in all those kind of categories there. So that is very nice there. And then so Best Sound Effects Editing, Who Framed Roger Rabbit
Oh,
was what it kind of lost to there. Best Sound, it lost to The Bird. They lost to that as well there. So shame it didn't win
okay.
any. Funny thing,
I could see it losing the Roger Rabbit though, because like that Roger Rabbit is so inventive with how it like combined the live action and cartoon. So I could see that.
yeah. So it lost to also Die Hard lost to Who Framed Roger Rabbit in Best Film Editing and Best Visual Effects there as well. So that was the winner as well in those categories. But that was a big movie. That was a huge movie. Yeah, Robert Zemeckis did that as well there, so that was pretty big. With that, you mentioned the director of this, John McTiernan, is there, who did it. That was kind of the big thing he did. Also, another big movie he did. He also was director of the first Predator movie as well,
Right.
which was huge. He also did The Hunt for the Red October, which was really good there. He did The Last Action Hero, which I think is underrated. I think that's an underrated Schwarzenegger movie there. I don't think people got it at the time when it
Mhm.
came out there. That was also did a screenplay from Shane Black. He also did Die Hard with a Vengeance there, which you said which I also agree is the second best Die Hard movie there. I know it's not a high bar to clear, but it's still pretty
Right.
good. But after that, I mean, really didn't really after I think Die Hard with Avengers was where he lost the sauce. That came out in 1995. Then he had some other stuff like the Thomas Crown Affair. I have not seen that. 13th Warrior, Rollerball, and Basic in 2003. That was his last movie, was in '03 there.
Mhm.
So you got that. So there. Have you seen any of those other movies there?
I have not. I've heard the Thomas Crown Affair is actually pretty good. That's the one with Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo. But
Mm.
Rollerball just looks really silly, and yeah, I'm willing to give Thomas Crown Affair the benefit of the doubt, but all those other ones just didn't really interest me.
Mm. What will be your final thoughts? Rating. Die Hard.
My final thoughts are: this is one of the best action movies of all time, and it is rightfully revered as such. It's got great action scenes, it's got great characters, and it just in the editing and pacing is just incredible from start to finish. Bruce Willis is one of the best action heroes of all time as John McClane in this movie. Hans Gruber is right up there with the T-1000 as one of my favorite action movie villains, and this is just incredible. This is cinema. This is yippee ki yay cinema right here. So yeah, no qualms about it. 5 stars.
I agree. I mean, I don't think you can give anything less than this is cinema there. This movie defined a generation of action movies there. You see so many movies inspired by Die Hard there. In this normal guy taking on extraordinary circumstances there. You got that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you can get anything less there. And then this movie, like I said, it's kind of rare you ever talk about a movie or see a movie that really revolutionized film, and I think this movie qualifies as a movie that really revolutionized film in terms of that, of what it was kind of doing there, of making it so, like, you see action heroes, you see them really get hurt, really bleed there, really feel like, oh, I don't know if this person's ever going to make it out of it, the situation there, are they going to be able to actually survive? And I think this movie really does a great job at that. Even with his other movie, John McTiernan, even with Predator, I think you get a good sense of seeing these kind of guys kind of on the outs and lose there. But in that situation, it's like, okay, these are highly trained kind of military guys going up against this like alien species there. But this is more grounded there, of dealing with these terrorists there. And that scene with the glass, that other scene always makes me like gross out, because it's like him pulling the glass out of his feet.
Oh, that's rough. That's rough to watch that one.
Yeah. Is it your favorite Bruce Willis movie? Die Hard?
That's a good question. I think this is tied with The Sixth Sense to be my favorite Bruce Willis movie, because The Sixth Sense is just so amazing with its drama and its characters, and that I think is his best acting performance. But as far as like the Bruce Willis movie I want to see like just any time of the day, it's got to be Die Hard.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, and he'll be forever remembered. Bruce Willis, John McClane there, Die Hard. Awesome legacy to have there with that.
Mhm.
So that was our review. Two cinemas for Die Hard.
Yeah.